PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Well, we're getting close to spring. I get a little excited because I get into a product series in the springtime, and so I'm trying to hold back off because we're still in February. But once the weather breaks and the spring starts, people are going to sit there and go, my tax returns are coming back and it's now time to get a car. We're coming out of the backside of the pandemic. It looks like the vaccines are working at someplace up to 98% effective. And so I don't know how much longer this is going to go on, but it looks like we're going to get into that herd compliancy with vaccines, or somebody's already had the pandemic disease, and we'll get back to more of normalcy. I think people will still wear masks. I think people will be more cautious. I think the number of flus and the colds and everything are going to drop because people will be more cautious with spreading any kind of germs or disease. It's going to be interesting to see. But one thing I do know is when they release people to be able to cross state lines and go do things in America again, they are probably not going to get in an airplane. They're probably going to get in their vehicle and they're going to go. It is time to get ready to ramp up, to do product knowledge, to sell against the other brands, and to get ready to go. So, there are so many people out there that have never leased a car. And sometimes when you bring up leasing, what happens is people immediately say, I don't want to lease. And I certainly understand it. I realize that a lot of you haven't been in the car business as long as I have. But if you go back into the beginning of leasing and how leasing started, leasing wasn't pro-customer at all. Leasing was either pro-bank or pro-dealership, and the customer came third if they came in any position at all. And so people ended up holding a lot of nothing at the end of a lease when they started out. But as leasing became more and more popular, then guaranteed future value leasing came in play, and that's a very customer-driven lease. The banks have to make a percentage of loaning money. If I loan you money as a bank or lending institution, then there's a percentage of gain that I need to make above that loan. It doesn't make any sense for somebody to loan you money and not to make a return. So for people that really don't understand this, and a lot of customers don't, there's no such thing as a 0% interest rate. What happens is there was the manufacturer was willing to give a $1,500, $2,500, $500 cashback, customer cash, rebate, whatever you want to call it. They take that money, they send it to the bank as an upfront interest or money factor payment on anything we're doing. And so the bank gets their money up front to reinvest, and that's a good thing for the banks. So there's no such thing as zero. Lending institutions do not loan money if they have no way to recoup that money and additional profits. End of story. So leasing comes into play. Leasing's not an interest rate, it's a money factor. And banks make money on that money factor. There's a lot of people that still won't lease. But can I use a lease example to get a customer to say yes to the Toyota product? You know, the payment's too high. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but if you haven't sold cars. That's not in my budget. Man, I got to think about it. All of these things mean that I don't have enough information to make a decision right now. Whether I, as a salesperson, supply that information or you get that information from your research, if I don't have enough information to be able to make a purchasing decision, then I probably will not. There are salespeople that are so aggressive and so good at what they do that they help people make a decision. I think the colloquial term would be a closer. But I don't know if you have to close if the customer sits there and goes, you know what, that is such a fantastic deal. I am protected in and out. It looks unbelievable. I think I'll take the car. Then I don't ever have to be a closer. So information becomes paramount. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about leasing to anti-leasing customers. And I'm going to use it in this example. I got some, this is currently going on right now. So to break down terminology, what is the residual? The residual is a gamble by the lending institution of what the vehicle should be worth at the termination of the lease term and miles. So if you did a lease for 3 years at 15,000 miles, the manufacturer said this vehicle should be worth X percentage of what it sold for at sticker price, MSRP. The funny thing about it is, a lot of times we don't sell the car at MSRP. We discount the car, or we over-allow because they have negative equity in their trade. So all leases are calculated, the residual or the remaining value at the end of the lease is calculated at the list price, MSRP of the vehicle. So if I've got a vehicle at $30,000 and the residual says 50%, then the guaranteed future value residual on that vehicle would be $15,000 at the end of the 3-year term. Everybody's got that. I know you already knew that, but in case there was that one person that was still struggling, I got you, right? So I come back to a customer and I go, there's no guarantees when you buy a car, but Toyota holds their value. And I can tell you that, but I would rather prove it to you. The Corolla is the #1 selling car in the history of the world. There's never been a nameplate sold more than the Corolla, more than the Model T, sold more than the Volkswagen Bug, and we're still building the Corolla. So the legacy of the Corolla goes on. It is a mainstay car, it's a family car, it's an everyday car, and it's one of those cars they quote unquote say will run forever. You could pass it through the lineage of your children and grandchildren, and the car will still be a productive way to move from A to B. So what does Toyota think this vehicle's worth after 3 years? Currently on your lease calendar, you can look at the numbers. They're willing to bet that a Corolla is going to be worth 63% of the original MSRP after 3 years. So I'm looking at a customer and I say, you're buying a car and you plan to keep it long term, but Toyota has solidified the value of this car by putting a lease residual at 63%. So you take the MSRP times 0.63, that's what Toyota thinks a vehicle is going to be worth. I think they're really good at deciding what their cars are worth since they deal with their product. So I'm not done yet. That's a Corolla. That's an everyday car. That's an affordable vehicle. Let's go to the all-new Venza. Hybrid, all-wheel drive. Yes, that's a great vehicle. So right out of the box, you know, they're not gonna guarantee anything on that car because it's new and people want it. 65% of the original MSRP is the current residual on the Venza. So all you got to do is take the MSRP times 0.65, and there's what Toyota is willing to think that vehicle is going to be worth at auction back in the market at the end of 3 years. Now, this is not retail. This is what they think the car is going to be worth, market value, auction, wholesale. That's the number we're looking at right now. So keep with me here. Highlander Gas, not the hybrid. Highlander Gas. And we know how amazing the fuel efficiency and how amazing the Highlander hybrid is. I'm talking Highlander Gas. That vehicle right now is carrying a 68% residual back to the end of 3 years. So I've got a customer over here and they go, well, I'm looking at the Highlander and looking at the Honda Pilates. I think it's Pilot. Maybe it's Pilot. And I don't know. I said, well, I don't know where Honda is, but I'm telling you right now, here's where Toyota is willing to look at the value in the future of this vehicle at 68% of the original MSRP. How is that not going to help somebody make that final decision? I need to think about it. I'm helping you think. I need to ask my spouse. I don't know if it's a good enough deal. That's what I'm trying to do right here. RAV4 hybrid. Do we need to argue about how awesome that vehicle is? Are you kidding me? RAV4 hybrid. 70% after 3 years of driving where you live. I don't know where you are, but where you live, on your roads, with your potholes, with your salt and gravel they throw down during the snow, with your giant heat that bakes the paint of the car, wherever you live, 70% residual on a RAV4 hybrid. 70%. That means the customer's driving the car plus money factor for the first 3 years in a lease for only 30% of the MSRP. If you discount the car at all, it comes out of the top part above the residual. I mean, this is getting unbelievably ridiculous. I'm not done. I'm not done. Get excited today. Not done. Tundra. And listen, I don't know. I'm not supposed to talk about the Tundra. Everybody that's on earth knows that we're coming out with a new Tundra. I'm not allowed to talk about it. Everybody knows we got a new power plant that's being built. So we can increase our 6-cylinder production. I'm just saying I know that we've got a plant that's increasing 6-cylinder production. I can't even think of why they would be doing that. Everybody in the world knows that we're going to come out with a hybrid Tundra. I am definitely not allowed to talk about that, so I'm not going to even bring it up. But the current 5.7 liter unbelievable Tundra that is the best half-ton truck ever built, only pick on that truck is it doesn't get 40 miles per gallon. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't get even close to 40 miles per gallon. Somebody said if you leave it running, you can't fill it up. But if you're looking for a truck, that's a truck. And the residual. Right now, even though we know the Tundra right now, current model is on its last leg and there's a new one coming. We know. It's still 72% residual of the MSRP. 72% for a pickup truck. Unbelievable, right? 4Runner. You know, they keep talking about changing the 4Runner. You know, that's like having pocket aces and throwing them in because you think you might get a better 2 hold cards. I don't know. I mean, that thing is, I can't remember a time when the 4Runner wasn't dominant. It's just that great a vehicle. And built on the same basic platform and frame is that guy that wrecked the FJ Cruiser in Fort Worth that was launched into another lane that just destroyed the FJ. He gets out of the vehicle and starts rendering help to everybody else. And Toyota's going like, wow, we can't do a better commercial than that. And if you don't know by now, Toyota gave that guy a new Toyota truck. So you wonder why I work with a manufacturer like Toyota? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The 4Runner's got a 73% residual to MSRP. So take the sticker price, MSRP, times 0.73. That's where Toyota is gambling that vehicle is going to be worth in 3 years. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not allowed to say this either. 3 years from now, we're going to have a new 4Runner. It's not going to be a full 3 years, but now they're willing to lease you a 4Runner at 73% residual, knowing that by the time that vehicle comes back to the used car market, there's already going to be a brand new from the ground up 4Runner. Is this ridiculous? I'm going to do one more because I run out of time. I get yelled at because I make these things too long. Casey, when are they going to change the Tacoma? It's got an 82% residual. It's a mid-size truck. And Toyota will lease you with not a subvented lease, not a special lease. The current lease on the regular lease on a Tacoma, the residual, the guaranteed future value of that vehicle is 82%. So you take the sticker price, you multiply it times 0.82, and that's what Toyota's willing to think that vehicle is going to be worth in 3 years. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't see 3 years passing. I don't see 2024 coming without a brand new, from the ground up redesigned Tacoma. I don't have facts to back that up. I have what you have. But I got to tell you, this is for a non-lease customer. For a customer that would never consider a lease, no matter how good a closer you are, using lease residual numbers to show them the retained value of something they're paying their hard-earned money on ends up giving them the ability to have enough information to say yes to you. Nobody is happy when a customer leaves without a car. They made the commitment to come to the dealership. They've driven, they've looked, they did their internet research, the BDC answered all their questions, they've come into the store, we presented numbers to them, and they leave. Now, I know that doesn't make you happy. I know that doesn't make the dealership management and ownership happy, but I'll be honest with you, there's no way that can make the customer happy because now they have to start all over somewhere else. Nobody wants to start all over somewhere else. They want to look at the deal that you've offered them with the vehicle you presented to them and look at that and go, that is super fair. I am protected. I'm going to do business with you. With that kind of customer that you didn't have to trick with a closing technique, there is a greater chance that that customer buys every vehicle from you as long as they're buying vehicles and recommends you to all their family and friends. This has been PK52, the Getting Excited for the Spring Saturday Morning Meeting.